Well, I can't sleep, so we might as well start out with another episode of Rolling Solo. Hello, and welcome to Rolling Solo. I'm Paul, your host. This is a Daggerheart actual play solo role playing show, which means that I will be your game master and all of the players and all of the NPCs and the world and all of the other things. Um, that said, we are on campaign 4 of our campaign, where we are playing in the Colossus of the Drylands campaign frame with our two characters, Aribia, the Executioner's Guild Dust Devil Duneborn Assassin, and Dusog, the Freeborn Stone Sylph Juggernaut Brawler. And they have, last episode, they defeated a Colossus. They made it back to town. They got paid. They rode off into the sunset. And that is where we are now. So, we are. I had a plan for opening this up with, we're riding into a town. So we're riding into a town, and let's ask the plot unfolding machine, which is the solo engine that we're using, what happens when we roll into town. So let's see. That means we are proposing a beat, and we roll a d10. 10. Decrease the intensity and tension. Okay, so we don't have much intensity and tension. What we have is we have a this town is built along the railroad. There is a railroad depot. This is dusty Western American kind of, high desert landscape. Lots of red rock, lots of, let's say, some tumbleweeds, not a lot of trees. Those that there are small and stunted and gnarled. There's actually a creek bed running near the town that has some alder trees on it. And we can see most of the town is sort of built along side of this railroad stop, where the railroad has to stop so the steam engines can take on more water and I guess whatever they run on, coal, Elysium, whatever it is that they run on, they need to take on more fuel and more water. And so there's a tower for that here in town. And this is the kind of purpose of this settlement. It has, in addition to that, you can see there's a few people walking about. There's a general store. We can see there are some storefronts. There's a boardwalk. And riding into this town comes, riding on these, riding horses into this town come our two stone / air elementals. One of them Dusog is whip thin, appears to be fairly muscly, doesn't wear, is not wearing a duster, is just wearing a shirt and a vest. Hands are wrapped in what looks like leather strips, and he is riding bareback on his horse. His skin seems to be made of stone, but his eyes are glowing blue, faintly glowing blue, and there's an air of wind about him everywhere he goes. There seems to be extra breeze. Next to him, wearing a full leather duster, is Aribia. She is looks similar to him, except that her hair is constantly sort of blowing in this unseen breeze, and she is, but the similar look with the blue eyes and the rock-like skin. She is fully, dressed, wearing a heavy duster, has a saddle on her horse. They're both carrying, saddle bags that, probably contain some days' supply worth of food. And that's the two characters that come riding into this, as they say, one horse town. So to increase the intensity and tension, I will say, they ride in, there's no troubles. They, ride into what looks like possibly kind of a saloon. And they'll make their way inside. The place is, at this time of day, empty, almost empty of patrons. There's who is behind the bar? I used to have at one point I had a table for this, but now I don't know where my table went. So let's just say let's roll a d20 and just pick an ancestry from the list of ancestries to see who is behind the bar. Ten. Okay. Let's grab our list of ancestries. There they are. Well, they're not listed. Climb, dwarf, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's fungal, but we're not going with fungal. We're going with Galapa. Behind the bar is this old, grizzled-looking Galapa, kind of moving slowly. This is very clearly a desert tortoise, not a watery turtle. Practically seems to be made of just dry leather and the shell is faded and is almost a tan rather than a green, and it is he, I think. Let's see. Yep, he. Nope, that's she. She, although it's hard to tell with Galapa if you don't know them, is, kind of morosely washing her glasses and kind of looks up as our characters walk into this bar, hitching their horses outside and walking into this tavern. And they will walk up to the Scalapa, sit down at the bar, and they kind of get a, well, what can I get you? And I have forgotten the voices for my characters from last week. I think Arabia had sort of a vaguely continental accent, and so I will stick with that. And she will say, "Do you have wine or beer?" "Yeah, got beer. It's not the greatest, but I'll set you up some." And without, really taking much in the orders, the Galapagos starts pouring 2 beers and 2 socks. So, you got food in this joint? And the Galapagos just kind of stares at him. Not really during the day. Around evening, sometimes we can put up some kind of a fry up for folks, but just me right now. I ain't gonna cook nothing. And so our heroes are sitting there nursing their beers, and Dusog goes out to his pack and grabs some jerky to chew on while they're talking, and kind of slips in his vest pocket and comes in and they're just going to talk about the chase that they're on, and they'll ask the bartender, like, has there been any strange news of destructive forces or strange sightings out on the plains around here? And the answer to that is 7. No, can't say there has been, but we haven't heard a word from Harvey's Reach, which is down the line one. Haven't heard a word from them in maybe a week. And of course, they're off the train line and off the telegraph line, so that's not unusual that we wouldn't hear much from them. But that's mining encampment about I'd say it's a day's ride up to the north. And so they haven't heard anything crazy, but they haven't heard anything from this Harvey's Reach. So our characters will, discuss this briefly amongst themselves. And that's the best lead we've got right now. Indeed, it is. And they will drop some coin on the bar. Thank you very much for the beers. And head back out and ride off into the north. Now, so our next scene, we will has them following this mountain path coming up into Harvey's Reach. And the question that I have is, do they find the signs that a colossus has been at this spot? Such as do they find wrecked mining equipment and things of that nature, or do they find a thriving settlement? And I think since we haven't heard from the settlement, I will make it quite likely. So I will roll this with a 6. Oh. And I'm using my own kind of yes-no oracle. And we'll see what we get. Okay. That is a 20 with fear. So the 20 with fear, 20 with fear. It was actually a 25 with fear. It was, ta-da, 25 with fear. On a 25 with fear, they will. That's a yes, but. So yes, they do find signs of destruction. They come upon this mining camp. The tents are blown away. I am getting hello chat. Not sure what you're saying, because I don't speak Spanish. But hello and welcome to Rolling Solo. The tents are swept away. The mining equipment is trashed. You know, you can see the entrance to the mine. The rails are twisted. You know, where they would like roll carts in. The rails are twisted and broken. There are dead bodies everywhere. 15 or 20 dead men lying on the ground. And when I say men, I mean, people of various ancestries. Humans, halflings, elves, furbolgs, just strewn about. But as they search, they will search for they will search for a survivor to see if has anybody lived through this attack. And I guess that's our question. Has anybody lived through this attack? Uh, 14. Yes, but. It's a 14 with fear, so that's a yes, but. They are very close to death's door. They search, they come around, and they find underneath a mining cart, they find this furbolg trapped underneath this mining cart, kind of breathing their last, and come to them and say, what happened? And come quickly, we have a survivor here. And they, as they're both searching, so Arubia finds this person, waves Dusog over, and they are squatted down and like looking at this dying man, this dying Furbolg, who just says, the river took us, and then dies. And they look around, and there is no river nearby. But marching over the top of the hill that they're on, this kind of mountainous hill that they're on, they look way down in the valley, and far down in the valley, miles away, you can see snaking along this same creek that we saw, flowing down in the town that we were in. This could be the same piece of water, but it's a very kind of narrow band of greenery. You can barely see the water itself. You can only see that this is like one of those spots like in the desert where around a source of water you'll get this explosion of greenery and trees and things. And so this is like growing along the side of this, and they can see like, oh, well, there must be a river down there. So they will head towards it. And I think I have a Colossus, and we have to fight a Colossus in this so we're gonna do some setting up here. Our next scene has them riding down into the valley to come upon the to come towards this river. And as you know, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to figure out what what this person meant by the river rises. So they get down there and they're both talking and saying like, well, I don't see anything here. And they're stopping to let their horses drink some of this water. And they're standing underneath this aspen tree. And we see them, and then behind them, the river begins to coalesce and come together and lift up as the river rocks themselves and seem to come up out of the water. The trees along the bank also get gathered up as the dirt and the river rises up into a what looks like a leopard with a snake tail. Is made of water and jagged rocks and trees that is standing up behind them. And they will turn and we'll have this classic moment where they'll see this thing rising up behind them and beginning to come in for the attack. That is where we will start our next bit of scene. So what do our characters do? Okay. So I have my Oh, I need to do some something I forgot to do. Torso has hit points of 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. This thing takes a stress of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Tail, hit points of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Head, hit points 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Forelegs, there's 2 of them. Right and left, each one has 4 hit points. Hind legs, there's 2 of them. Okay. So I got my hit point trackers written down for my monster. We've got Aribia. Now, our characters are now level 2 from last week when they were level 1, so that's new for them. So the first thing Aribia is going to do is look around, and my question is, can she find a place? Is there a good place to hide and snipe within very far range? And we're just going to ask that question of the Oracle to see if there even is such a place that she can hide and get out of range. 13 with fear. No. So there's nowhere where she can really like get a good like a sniping spot where she'll be out of view. She will move to she will move back as far away as she can in this round. She will use her Gale Force and conjure a gust of wind and take herself to very far range. Anyway, even though she can't find a good, like, sniping position, she at least wants to be far away. And will immediately take a shot at the head of this creature, believing that this is her best bet. So that's going to be her first move. The rifle is now slightly better than it was because we've moved up to tier 2 weaponry. So it's a D8 plus 5, and but it's still an agility weapon, still agility plus 2. That is a 9 with fear. That is a miss. The Colossus will attack. The Colossus comes in. First things first, it's going to take a bite at. It's going to take a bite on our good friend Dusog. So he's going to be the first to get attacked. So that's an attack with the head. The head attacks at too many things going on. Okay. This is an attack with the head. The head attacks at plus 3, and it makes a bite. So it attempts to bite him. Okay. That's an 8 plus 3 is 11. Dusog's evasion is 12. I want to say it's higher than that, but it's not. And he will, therefore, it will miss. However, that means that I collect a fear because this is a Colossus, and one of the features of a Colossus is that when Lepardu fails an attack, we take a fear. We will immediately spend that fear to activate the foreleg. And then we will spend another fear to use the foreleg's fear, and it's going to spend a fear to pin a target within very close range to the ground under the paw. The target makes an instinct reaction roll to avoid being pinned. So, Lepardu will pounce forward and try to smack down with one of its forelegs. And so Dusog makes an instinct reaction roll. Difficulty 14. I will spend a hope. There's my pencil. I will spend a hope on floats like a butterfly to give him a +2 on this instinct roll. So this is +3 total. 12 plus 3 is 15. Meets it. Beats it. So it fails to pin him with its foreleg. It will attempt, therefore, to just strike at him with a claw. So we'll activate the other foreleg and make an attack with the other foreleg, just a straight up swipe. It's a 2. It will miss. We will gain another fear. We will spend that fear to attempt to... We can activate a hind leg, which attacks at very close range. So it's moved in. How long is this guy? This guy's 250 feet long, including the tail. So I don't know that he would be within very close range of the hind legs, but let's just go ahead and say yes. We'll spend this fear. Did I just spend a fear? I just spent a fear. To activate a hind leg. And it will crit. So the hind leg does 2d12 plus 6 damage. So that's 30 damage plus 18 damage, so 48 damage on that attack. Man. That is severe damage for Dusog. He will... It's not quite double his threshold. He will therefore take 2 hit points of damage and mark an armor slot. And be very unhappy. It will strike with another hind leg. That's a 10 plus 2 is, or plus 3 is 13. That will hit. That is 6 damage plus... hind leg does 2d12 plus 6, so that's 6, that's 12 damage, that's minor damage. We'll spend an armor slot to take no damage. And then it's hind leg. We will try the tail. We're going to spend a fear. We're going to strike. So, yep, spend a fear. Take a strike action. Snake strike. 10, 11, 12, 13. That hits. Okay, so... On a hit, the target first takes 2d10 plus 10 damage. So let's grab a D10 here. A D8, that's a D12, that's a D10. And that's a D10. Let's roll it twice. 7, 6, 13, 23 damage. It's major damage. And then he makes a... On success, the target takes 2d10 plus 10 damage and makes a strength reaction roll. 15 against being poisoned. So this is strength reaction roll. This is plus 2. We're going to spend another hope. On floats like a butterfly again. So that'll be 2. This is a roll 14. Or a plus 4. Strength reaction roll. Does not get it. He is currently poisoned. Poisoned creatures are vulnerable and attack with disadvantage, which you can clear by spending 2 stress. So, first thing that's going to happen is Dusog's turn, because that thing is just attacked with everything it's got. On Dusog's turn, he is going to spend 2 stress and clear the poison condition. He is then going to attempt to climb onto this creature's front leg, onto its foreleg, which he can do as an action. And then let me look this up real quick, because I don't want to get this wrong. I don't want to get this wrong for fighting Colossi. Colossuses. Whichever. Design your own Colossus. I've done that. Once the party finds a new Colossus, is risen. Running Colossus fights. Moving a PC around the Colossus. That's what we want. They can climb onto each Colossus segment unless segment notes otherwise in stat block. Once a PC is on a segment, they can usually move around that segment. To move to an adjacent segment, they must make an appropriate action roll. Usually agility or strength to leap onto it. So he's going to climb onto the foreleg and make an attack from the foreleg to the torso. So that's just the first thing that Dusog's going to do. This is his fists attack. This is an agility attack. We'll spend our last hope for stings like a bee for plus 2. So this is plus 5 agility roll. Okay, that's a 25 with fear. Take a fear. So this will do damage. This will hit the torso, and he rolls 2d10. Okay, so let's find some d10s here for reals. 2d10. And he rolls 2d6. And that is 7, 14. 14 plus 8 is 22. Which is not quite severe damage, but is major damage. So it will take 2 hit points. Now it is its turn again. It's going to do its scratch action. So I'll spend that fear to scratch at all targets. Oh, it's not on the torso. You can't do that. It's just going to attack with a hind leg. And try to scratch him off of its... He's up on the foreleg, and it's just reaching forward to scratch him with its hind legs. Which is... attack. That will miss. We gain a fear. We will spend that fear to attack with the other hind leg. We will miss. We will gain a fear. We will spend that fear to attack with the head. The head hits. So it scratches at him with its hind legs, it misses, and then it just reaches down and bites him as he sits there on its leg. The head has 2d10 plus 10 damage. Lord. I just had my 2d10. (14 plus 10, 24). Not quite major damage, but definitely it's going to take an armor and a health. It strikes with the tail. Tail strike. That's a hit. Tail strike does 2d8 plus 6. That's 17. Mark an armor. Mark an hit point. Okay. So... okay. So I think that's all the attacks that it can make. No, it can make one more attack with the other foreleg. Which will hit. And unless it rolls incredibly low, the forelegs are 2d12s. So that does 15 plus 6, 20 something damage. Not quite major, not quite severe damage. We mark an armor. He marks his last hit point. So, in this flurry of strikes, Dusog will drop off of the Colossus. Aribia. So he drops unconscious and falls off of this Colossus. Aribia is going to spend a stress on Gale Force. So, Aribia's going to do a couple of things. Aribia spends a stress to come within range. So she uses Gale Force to come back from far range and be next to Dusog. Then she's going to pour a minor health potion down Dusog's throat. Giving him back 2 hit points. Then she's going to I think that's pretty much the turn that she has available. The Colossus, seeing her there, will attempt to strike her with its foreleg. Well, Dusog still has a turn, I guess. We haven't... I think she's going to mark another stress. And she's going to Gale Force Dusog away. So she can mark a stress to conjure a gust of wind that carries you or an ally up to very far range. So she pushes him to very far range, and then that will conclude her turn. She's done a lot, and that gives the monster the opportunity to strike her with its foreleg. It will miss. We'll strike her with its other foreleg. That will be, her evasion is 10, it's a +3, or evasion is 12. It gets a +3 to its attack, so that will be an attack with foreleg number 2. Which is 2d12 plus 8. That's 18, which for Aribia is major damage, so you will mark an armor, take a shot. I still got fear to spend. It's going to bite. It'll miss. Hind leg. That's a hit. Oh, spend the fear for the hind leg. That is a hit. 2d12 plus 6 again. That is 15. 21, which is just below severe damage. Marks an armor. Takes a hit point. And we'll spend a fear to attack with the tail. That'll miss. We will spend another fear to attack with the other hind leg. That'll miss. We have 1 fear, but we're out of body parts to attack with. So Aribia has somehow survived, taking 2 hit points of damage. She is going to... Everything on this thing seems to meet at its torso, so she's going to focus fire there. And she's going to take 2 stress. Go to very far range with Dusog. And she's going to take a shot at the torso. Okay, that will hit. Unfortunately, that is a 21 plus agility, 23. That's a 23, which will definitely hit, but it hits with fear. So we get a fear. This does 2d8 plus 5 physical damage. So here's our d8s. 8 and a 5 is 13, plus 5 is 18. There's 18 damage on this guy. His thresholds are 14 and 24. There's 2 more damage to the torso. The Colossus gets to act. They are very far away. So I'm going to say the Colossus is going to make... It's a Colossus. It can definitely get to far range in one move. Can it get to very far range? Very far range is very far. So we'll make it make an agility roll. Just a flat roll of difficulty, we'll say 14. Well, I'll say 12. Say difficulty 12 to cover the very far distance as its full movement. It makes it. So it glumps up, but it's now next to them. Aribia so it's now back in melee with both of them, but that was its turn. That was its move. To get to very far distance. No, that's not its move, because I got fear to spend. So it will bite them. Who does it bite? It bites at Aribia. And it hits. And that bite is 2d10 plus 10. That's 21. Just below major damage. Or severe damage. Mark stress. Mark thing. It's going to try to snake strike at her to make her poisoned. So it snake strikes. Well, I can't do that because I have to spend a fear, so it's just going to four-leg attack. Four-leg attack with a natural 20. This is not looking good. That is 24, 30 plus 10 is 40. That's severe damage for sure. She'll mark an armor and mark that down. Her armor is now shredded. So, you know, the creature is glomped forward. It uses its bite and, you know, crushes into her and then starts tearing with its forelegs and really just savagely rips up her duster. She is feeling very weak and damaged at this point, which is when Dusog will climb on board the forelegs and make his attack on the torso. Roll with hope. Okay. So we get a hope. We do some damage. Uh, 4, 6, 18. 18 damage, which is major damage. which breaks the torso. And with its torso broken, I think it is limited to attacks with the tail and head. When I originally designed this creature, I had that there'd be a chain from head and tail. I think I'm just going to chain that with the torso being chained to no, I had a reason to do that, which is that it had two heads. But with its torso broken, it is no longer able to operate its legs. It is stuck in one place. Or maybe not. But I do think that Aribia is going to spend a stress. She is going to disappear into the background again. And she is going to take a shot at the head of this creature. She has no hope to spend, so it's just a straight agility shot. So this is +2. It's about as bad as it could be. Misses. Okay. So Dusog is on a foreleg. He climbs up along the rocks with the water pouring over him, struggles up, slams a punch into the torso. The creature's kind of shivers and essentially collapses, or starts to collapse as its torso is broken and split in two, leaving it now as it's slowed down somewhat, but it's still moving about. How does it function without it? With torso destroyed? Aribia, in a gust of wind, disappears, flashes back into the distance, fires a shot with her rifle. The shot goes wide. The Colossus, seeing Dusog on its foreleg, reaches down to gnaw him off. It fails to do so. And then it will attempt to swipe with its tail, which is the only other weapon it has available. That's an 11 plus 14, which will hit. And so Dusog will take full damage from this, whatever it is. 2d8 plus 6. That's 14 damage for Dusog. That is major damage. He has no armor left. He again goes down. So he is fully down, goes unconscious. And it is left to Aribia, who has exactly 1 hit point left and 1 stress left to get out of this situation. Rivia spends her last stress. Flashes in. There's a gust of wind. She's back with Dusog. She chugs his stamina potion. Getting back 1 stress. She spends that stress to send him far away. She is now vulnerable. And she is just going to run. And it's going to take a swing at her with its forelegs, and we'll see if she makes any distance or not. She does not. It doesn't have to roll damage, it just marks her last hit point. So it's so early to do this. But I feel like I need to risk it all. As she goes down. Well, that's that. We risked it all, and we lost a character. Brutal. Okay, well, might as well risk it all for Dusog as well. He dies too. That is not awesome. I overbuilt that Colossus, and boy did I pay the price. So the question is, what do we do now? I don't have a backup character. But our scene ends with our 2 heroes being defeated by this particular Colossus. Well, that could have gone better. I don't know. You know, we may reshoot this episode and see if it looks better later, but I might weaken the Colossus and try again. But hey, thanks for watching. You know, this t-shirt is available on my shop. And wow. Keep rolling, y'all.